All right, so we're going to be looking at the math notebook for chapter 1. This is for regular 8th grade math. On the first slide, you should have outlined your entire chapter 1. So I should have 1.1 and whatever the information is under the line in your book, just as the picture shows. And then again, you should go 1.1.2, 1.1.3, all the way to the end of 1.2.2 and chapter 1 closure. On this slide, you can see that the first problem was not required, but we did title it and put the date on there. In addition to that, you should have answered these 2 bullet point questions the day that we did this in class. We also did it for 2 days. Here we had problems 1.9 and 1.10 on 2 slides, and you needed to finish filling in these slides in order to show me that you understood how the figures changed and how they worked in the table. The next section was the algebra walk. Now, this was something that in regular 8th grade math that we did as a separate assignment in Google Classroom. So if you remember 1.1.3, number 117 and 118, we just put a little bit of information on this slide about what we did. We skipped section 1.1.4, which is why we wrote that in a slide. 1.2.1 is the proportional relationships. So here, we started doing this in class. We did this entire problem in class, and then what you needed to do was copy down the information and put it in your notebook. Very similarly, we had about 4 of these questions. So you also needed to fill out this table and graph and C. D compares all 3 of those problems in order to be able to talk about them. Here we have problem 1-42. Again, we've done this entire problem in class, but here are the basic outlines for everything you need, including the questions of what's being asked of you to do. Problem 143, we also did in class. I did Feroza's pet ferret eats so much that Feroza has to buy ferret food in bulk. There's also a video lesson if you needed more instructions. Here we are with 144. This was one of the first ones that is just homework. I do have a video instruction just in case it still isn't making any sense. This is one of the last problems, 1-45. This is something I'm expecting you to do today, October 7th in class, or if you did it for homework. Lastly, this is about making a learning log, and learning logs can be very difficult. So what I did was it says, please look on next slide to verify this information. So in order to meet all of this criteria, I did want to make sure that you had the option right here in order to copy this slide and put everything in the appropriate place. For instance, you should be able to look at an equation and see, is this proportional or is this not? And the way you know that is a proportional relationship is only multiplication. So here, there's adding 4. So I'm going to go ahead and make that not proportional. Here, this one looks as though it would be non-proportional because there's adding, but I want you to notice there are only x's and y's, which means it is actually proportional because it's only multiplication and division. Very similarly, only multiplication. And the last equation does have addition that does not involve a y or an x. Then you move the graphs to the appropriate places and the 3 tables. This will suffice for understanding the 3 ways to identify proportional and non-proportional relationships. We aren't going to be doing the chapter 1 closure in our notebooks, so this is the end of the slides.